Numerous leaders in the indirect vehicle financing industry discussed pressing regulatory challenges at the 4th annual AFSA and NADA Executive Summit. The chief concern was the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau's attempt to compel changes in the way finance sources compensate dealers for arranging financing for consumers. This assault on the highly efficient and competitive vehicle financing model was front and center on the minds of participants.
The indirect lending model works. I think it's worked for a number of years. I think that consumers win at the end of the day, and I'm convinced of that. You're not going to change my mind otherwise.
The CFPB is pushing financial institutions to pay dealers a flat fee, striking at the heart of the indirect lending model, which produces highly competitive rates based on the dealer's ability to reduce its earnings to earn its customers' business.
We don't think that's good for consumers. It's going to change the dynamic of pricing to who offers the highest flat fee instead of who offers the lowest interest rate. And it's going to take away from the dealers from 17,540 price discounters right now. There isn't a dealer I know that will let a deal walk out the door. They'll go below the buy rate to make the deal happen.
And it happens all the time, I'm sure more than once a week, that somebody will come in from another bank or a credit union and they have a rate, and they have a pre-approved rate. And most of the time we can beat that rate, save them money. Not only sell them the car, but save them money. So you couldn't do that with a flat rate.
Dealers and lenders alike expressed their concerns about the CFPB's expectations and the environment it has created.
I think there is still a tremendous amount of uncertainty out there in terms of how the CFPB is going to go about their oversight of financial institutions, how they're going to look at the indirect lending model.
We're all concerned about our CFPB and the regulatory environment. We'll respond. I think we're still trying to understand all that's expected of us from CFPB.
We have to step back and look at what is the CFPB really trying to accomplish, and with some of the regulation they're putting in effect or they're trying to implement, is that really achieving the end goal?
I think everything they've done has raised a lot of concern. We don't know how to comply. They've given us no roadmap, they've given us no real direction.
We just need to continue to have an education process with the CFPB to try to continue to explain our business model of dealer-assisted financing and how it helps the consumer.
We have to continue to work together. We have to push back where we believe that they're wrong.
The CFPB is pushing for flat rates, alleging that interest rate markup practices may lead to African Americans and Hispanics being charged higher markups than other similarly situated white consumers.
We're not talking about intentional discrimination. That's not what the CFPB is alleging. They're saying on a statistical retrospective look back, a historical look back, there are problems. But to do that, you have to first classify people into whether they're minorities or not. Secondly, then you have to make sure you're comparing similarly situated people. And we don't think that they're holding constant the right variable. So we don't think that they're comparing apples to apples.
The CFPB has steadfastly refused to discuss how it conducted its analysis.
So they really have created as many questions as they have answers. If you look at the actual guidance that they've issued, Director Cordray said to us, he could not act upon the guidance that his bureau issued.
Here, dealers and lenders alike searched for answers, and everyone recognized the value of continuing to increase the level of communication between them.
Meetings like this are really valuable. It allows us to share insights and talk about issues that are common across the industry. And it also gives us an opportunity to work together to determine how we can influence the outcomes on some of these issues.
A number of people in the room will tell you the significance and interest in this type of forum is growing. And the collection of talent in that room, I mean, these are the leaders of the industry, and I refer to that collectively. So you have NADA, you have a number of the other associations, you have the lenders in the room.
Getting that feedback directly from NADA in terms of how we're doing, how we can change, how from an industry perspective we can facilitate those transactions more effectively. From a dealer's perspective, the one that's actually dealing with the customer more directly is critical for us.
And that's especially important at a time when the CFPB could force changes to a business model that has served consumers so efficiently by lowering the cost of credit and increasing their access to it. John Spiropoulos, NADA TV.